Hi, this is Ushio, and welcome back to Sable's Grimoire. In the last episode, we had our first practical magic lesson, and we kind of destroyed the entire class. We did a massive gravity spell, and yeah, we couldn't control it, and we might have messed things up. So we're waking up, and hopefully we're going to find out what happened. My eyes slowly opened, then quickly closed once again as light sears my retinas. I turn my head to the side, away from the artificial light directly above me, and blink a few times as I get used to the brightness. Once I'm able to open my eyes, I look around the room, trying to ascertain where I am and why I'm here. Is this the infirmary? Why? My eyes open wide as memories of recent events rush to the forefront of my mind. Oh yeah, glyph invoking glass. I got ahead of myself and used a dangerous spell to show off, didn't I? It was going okay at first, but I lost control. I looked down at my hands and frowned. How could I have done something so reckless? Even if I wanted to impress my classmates, that kind of display was nothing short of arrogant. I might have seriously injured someone today if not for... Once again, my eyes widen in shock. If not for what? I lost consciousness, but the effects of the spell itself would have kept on going, and without the caster suppressing the spell's effects, it would only have grown stronger. For all I know, I really might have hurt someone today, or perhaps... Every year we have many students injured during this class, and even a few fatalities, so when I tell you to stop or to control yourself, make sure you listen. Uh-oh, my hands begin to shake as I recall Eris's words. Could I really have killed someone? No, of course I could have. That isn't what's being debated right now. The real question is, did I? Before I realise it, tears are streaming down my cheeks. Furthermore, my hands are no longer the only parts of my body that are shaking. Every one of my muscles is twitching, not only from the strain, but also from nervousness and anxiety. Unbeknownst to me, I could be a murderer. It can't be true, can it? I'm not a fighter. I didn't come to this academy to hurt people or to kill them. I'm here to become a researcher. I want to help, not injure. If I really did kill somebody today, or injure them in some horrific manner, then... Oh, are you okay, child? I did my best to heal your body, so there shouldn't be any residual damage. Did I perhaps miss something after all? Before I can immerse myself in self-loathing any further, a pure white figure approaches. My tears stop, and my body stops shaking. I gaze at the approaching woman in awe, unable to believe what I'm seeing. Oh, an angel? Then that means I killed myself with my own spell. I can't help but exclaim loudly, as I reach such an unfortunate conclusion. For a mage, there's no greater shame than killing oneself with their own spell, especially if it's by accident. Please calm yourself, you're not dead. My name is Raphael. I preside over the infirmary of the academy. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Greeted by the nurse's caring words and gentle tone, I feel my entire body begin to relax. Her voice has a soothing effect on any who hear it, similar to the charm forced on others by my teacher, Eris Monty. But unlike Eris, this woman is using her power to help, not to manipulate. Okay, Miss Raphael. Just Raphael, dear. Raphael, then. Do you know what happened after I lost consciousness? I realised that you weren't present, but I thought that maybe... Oh, so you're worried about your friends and teachers? What a kind-hearted child you are. Even laying on your deathbed, the well-being of others is what weighs most heavily on your mind. I'm sure that your kindness will be rewarded as you ascend to heaven. Wow, that's a relief. Wait, my deathbed? Heaven? I'm kidding, just a joke. I did mean the first part though. I admire those who care for others so deeply that they place their own well-being second. Self-sacrifice in the name of protecting one's beloved. Is there anything more romantic? My expression slowly begins to distort as I catch a glimpse of Raphael's true nature. Oh, pardon me. I did not mean to detract from the topic at hand. You wish to confirm the safety of your classmates, is that correct? Without saying a word, I nod firmly. Then you got nothing to worry about. Your classmates are all safe and sound. Only one student approached death, but they too have made a full recovery. I sigh in relief. Thank goodness. If it turned out I really did kill someone, I don't know what I'd do. Before I can be completely at ease, however, I feel the need to inquire further. So the person who almost died, who was it? Was it my partner? Is she resting in the other room? Going by her proximity to myself during the casting of the spell, it stands to reason that my partner would be the most heavily injured. However, upon hearing my question, Raphael shakes her head. The student who encroached upon death's door is in this very room right now. I look around the room once more, searching for a presence I might have missed. No matter how many times I look around, however, I can confirm presence of no more than 2 people. After a few moments, I gasp in realization. Figured it out, have you? From what I hear, the spell you cast was very dangerous. If you hadn't managed to assert enough control over it, you would have no doubt killed several of your classmates. Fortunately, you fought on until the end, taking the bulk of the strain upon yourself, even as your consciousness slipped away. It almost cost you your life, but the results speak for themselves. Your classmates are safe and sound. I lay back, down on the bed and closed my eyes, sighing deeply. They're all okay, it's a relief. I should imagine so. You struggled hard to save your friends, and your efforts were not in vain. You're truly admirable, dear child. With my eyes still closed, I'm surprised to feel the touch of skin on my left hand. My eyes shoot open, and I find Raphael caressing my hand with her own. What are you doing? Rest peacefully, dear child, you've earned this. Though surprised to find my hand being held, it's not uncomfortable. Rather, with the soothing feeling from earlier now enveloping my entire body, it's almost as though I'm resting on a cloud. Without thinking, I lay my head on the pillow. That's right, rest well. Hero? No, I was the one who put everyone in danger. Everything that happened was my fault. And you accepted the consequences of your actions without delay. You put yourself in harm's way so that nobody else would be impacted by your mistake. And that is the difference between a coward and a hero. My eyelids continued to grow heavier by the second. All of the worries weighing on my mind have been cast aside, and my body has been healed by the angel in front of me. A hero? That might not be so bad. Yeah, rest your weary body, young hero. You deserve a good night's sleep. And when you awaken, remember my words, and trust that what you have accomplished here today is for the greater good. But above all else, remember this. You've caught my eye, dear child. As such, when your time does come, your soul shall be mine to harvest. What? That doesn't sound so good. Okay, where are we going to wake up now? Back in the infirmary. For the second time today, I awakened to find myself in the academy infirmary. Unlike earlier, however, this time around I'm undoubtedly alone. Without Raphael by my bedside telling me to rest, I forced myself to stand and then walk over to the window. Peering out of the window, I quickly realised that it's now night time or close to it. Unknowingly, I've slept half the day away, and in doing so I've missed yet another class. Ah man, I lost consciousness at the start of one class and then slept through another. Worse, the first two classes today weren't even proper lessons. The first one was even shortened thanks to the opening ceremony, which I almost so missed. One unproductive first day. Regretting the opportunities that I've missed already, I turn away from the window and begin to stretch. Oh well, it's only my first day. It's not like I've missed anything important, right? As long as I attend class dutifully from now on, there shouldn't be any problem. I exit the infirmary and begin to walk toward my classroom. Along the way, however, I realise that I needn't have bothered. It's already nearing bedtime. Nobody's going to be in class. Man, can't be helped, I suppose. I've been asleep for half the day after all. I can't expect everyone else to alter their schedules to suit mine. But if I'm not going to class, where should I go? I'm far too well rested to go to bed, so I don't really want to go to my room, and given how dark it is outside, a stroll around the courtyard is probably not on the table. Okay, so what would be a suitable venue for this time of evening? Cafeteria or the library? I mean, I guess we're behind on our studies. We could go to the library. Yeah, let's catch up on our studies. Let's go library. I didn't get to spend much time in the library earlier, so it'd be nice to pay another visit. And I think also we need to have a bit of a wind down, maybe somewhere more low-key will help. Given the time of day, I might even get the place to myself, and considering how much I've slept already, I won't have to worry about getting carried away and losing sleep. Okay, I've made my decision. The library it is. Strolling through the empty hallways, it doesn't take long before I reach the library. Like the hallways, the library appears to be completely devoid of life and almost dead silent. Taking a quick look around, I'm fairly certain that I'm alone. Not only do I have ample time for research, I also get the library all to myself. What did I do to deserve such a wonderful gift? Rather than depress myself by dwelling on my own rhetorical question, I walk over to the nearest bookshelf. Glancing over a few dozen books, I soon take one with an interesting title in my hand. Magic Beast Covenants, Your First Binding Ritual. Sounds dangerous. Interesting, but dangerous. It's definitely not my idea as something I'd like to put to practical use. Though my knowledge on the subject's limited, I'm familiar with the basics of binding rituals and magic beast covenants. The idea is to gradually break down the resistance of a magic beast until it no longer wishes to fight. Then you inject a part of yourself into the beast in its weakened state. Over time the beast will become familiar with you and will feel as though you're truly a part of one another. Once the beast has reached that level of familiarity, you conduct a ritual to bind your souls to one another, forming a covenant breakable only by death. Of course, the entire notion of binding souls together is a complete farce. Whatever's really going on, it's sure to be something far less grandiose. But at this point in time, that's still the accepted theory, and I for one have no plans to attempt to disprove it in the foreseeable future. Maybe I should give this book a read after all. I might not be particularly interested in applying what I learn, but it can't hurt to increase my knowledge on the subject. Weighing up the value of such knowledge, I flipped through the book for a few moments before putting it back onto the shelf. Nah, forget it. I already have plenty of other subjects I've been meaning to research first. I'll get back to binding rituals another time maybe. I'll take a step back and start scanning the shelves again. Do you need help finding something? Oh god. I'll jump in fright as a presence suddenly manifests right next to me. Joru? Yeah? Oh, if it isn't Sable. Joru and I each breathe a sigh of relief as we realise the identity of the other party. Wow, you really scared me. I'm sorry, didn't mean to startle you. No, it's fine. I'm just too engrossed in what I was doing. Anyway, what brings you back here? If I recall correctly, earlier today you were digitising books. Are you still doing that? I'm not still digitising books. I've been attending class and studying diligently since earlier, you know. But yeah, that's why I'm here now. Wow, you really are a hard worker. Do you really need money that badly, though? You said earlier that you're not a low-ranking student, so I can't imagine you're that strapped for cash. Oh, I'm not doing it for the money. Money is certainly a factor, but above all else, I assist in digitising books for the sake of helping other magi such as yourself. You're doing a hard job like this just to help others? This venture of mine is not entirely selfless, but that's indeed my primary goal. If you're an avid reader, then surely you know how valuable the books in the library are, right? I've heard that there are physical books in here which don't exist anywhere else in the world, and are yet to be digitised in any way. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If a unique book is trapped in physical form, then only a single person can read it at any one time. And if the book were to be damaged or lost, we would lose the contents forever. And that's why I aim to digitise every last book in the library. I wish to free the knowledge contained within these tomes from their physical cages, and to make them freely accessible to everyone. Wow, it's quite a noble goal. On behalf of everyone who has ever read one of your digitised books, allow me to thank you. I bow my head deeply toward a helpful girl in front of me. Okay, you don't need to do that. I'm not doing this in order to be thanked or anything. I just wanted to help out, you know. I raise my head and smile. Yeah, I understand. Thanks. Wow, I just said I'm not doing it to be thanked. Although I can't see her mouth under the mask, I imagine that Joru must be pouting as she tries to conceal her joy. Really, Joru has no idea how much people like her have helped me over the years. As someone not in a magic institution, but with access to a terminal, digitised books were my sole source of information for many years. Were it not for people like Joru, I would never even be close to where I am today. While silently singing Joru's praises, I noticed something stuck in her mask. Oh, Joru? You got a little, what's that? I'll point to a scrap of paper stuck to the mask. Oh my. How did that get there? Oh. Joru laughs nervously as she plucks the scrap of paper and hastily places it into her pocket. I raise an eyebrow at Joru's behaviour, but ultimately shrug it off and decide not to ask. So, books, yeah? Were you looking for a particular book? Oh, I wasn't really looking into anything in particular. I just came here because I found myself with some free time. Oh, I see. I could certainly relate to that. That being said, you shouldn't neglect your health for the sake of your research. Too many aspiring young scholars have met their demise prematurely by doing so. Neglect my health? What gave you that idea? Your stomach has been grumbling since before I walked over here. Oh, come to think of it, I would usually have eaten dinner by now, but I wasn't particularly hungry when I woke up, so the thought didn't cross my mind. Perhaps I should have gone to the cafeteria after all. I certainly don't intend to become a victim of my own obsession. Scratching my head, I smile wryly at Joru. Perhaps you're right. I wanted to use this time to make some progress with my research, but still, I've got to eat. These books are still going to be here when you get back, and your time at the academy has only just begun. Take your time and take care of yourself. Your health is far more important than your research. I can't say I agree with that, but I do understand what you're trying to say. Okay, I'm going to go eat dinner, and then I'll come back on a full stomach. See you soon. Okay, take your time. I turn around and leave the library, waving goodbye to Joru as I do. So we're going to go get some snacks now. After paying a quick visit to the cafeteria, I return to the library in order to borrow a few books. Then, books in hand, I head for my dorm room so that I can read them at my leisure. I could probably read these in the library without causing any trouble, but in the event that a teacher caught me, it would be pretty awkward to try explaining why I'm studying by myself at midnight on my first day. Rather than risk that kind of encounter, I'd be better off reading in my room, where nobody can bother me. Upon entering the dorm room, I immediately glance around, trying to see if my roommate's present. While it's possible that she's elsewhere, I didn't see her in the cafeteria, and she's probably far more tired than I am. Realistically speaking, she's likely getting ready to go to bed at this very moment. Damn, this might be a problem. I wanted to read for a few hours, but it's going to be difficult to do so without bombarding Tix with artificial light. Her sleep shouldn't be disturbed because of my mistake. Despite my concerns, I can't find her anywhere. She's not in bed, and there's no food out, and I can't hear her voice or anything. The only sign of life is a faint sound of running water, which is likely the sound of someone showering in the room next to mine. How weird. I thought for sure that Tix would be here. Is she spending the night in the room with one of her friends? Tix seemed okay about having a male roommate earlier, but I wouldn't blame her if she lost her nerve after all. No sooner have I thought so than Tix appears before me. I catch a glimpse of her figure out of the corner of my eye, and a moment later my mouth is agape in shock. Put some clothes on, Tix is bathing in the kitchen sink. Aha. Scrub a wash, make all the dirt fly away. A clean pixie is a good pixie. Isn't that right, Sable? What? I shirk back in surprise as Tix stares up at me. At this moment, I'm not sure what surprises me more, the fact that Tix is bathing in the sink, or that she's talking to me while bathing. I'd ask if you wanted to join me, but that dumb look on your face tells me you can't shrink your body down to this size. I mean, to be fair, I can't shrink my body either, but unlike you, I've got no reason to. Picking apart Tix's words, I quickly understand what she's trying to say. This is Tix's normal size. Her human-sized body earlier was the result of Tix enlarging her body, using a form of enhancement magic. Tix's true form is that of a tiny creature with wings, no bigger than my hand. I had a hunch that Tix might have been using enhancement magic, given her strength earlier when I called her a fairy. But to think that she's able to alter her body to such an extent. Humans are unable to modify their bodies too heavily with magic. Our bones and muscles are not used to undergoing such changes. So if we enhance our bodies too quickly or to such a great extent, it's frightfully easy to cause ourselves irreparable harm. But for pixies, this is apparently not the case. Sable, are you just going to keep standing there ogling me? It's fine if you are, but at least back away a little bit. You're going to blow me away if you breathe any harder. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost myself in thought for a moment there. I'll leave you alone. I'm sorry to disturb you. Oh, you're going to leave? Tix's eyes and mouth are wide open in surprise. Well, isn't that natural? You're bathing. I don't want to get in your way. Tix's mouth closes and she warps it into a smile. You're not in the way. Sit down and talk to me. Let's chat for a bit. Well, you're naked. Is that a problem? I raise an eyebrow at Tix's retort. Sighing inwardly, I sit down on the edge of the bed. Oh, if you're sure it doesn't bother you. Why would it? I'm not ashamed of my body. Besides, even if you're overcome with lust, it's not like you can do anything to me while I'm this size anyway. What kind of person do you think I am? Tix shrugs and smiles cheekily. Oh, come to think of it, this makes you the first human to ever see my naked body. And the first man, incidentally. Hearing Tix's words, which are no doubt intended to excite or provoke me, I betray her expectations. Rather than react with gusto, I roll my eyes and scoff. What, so you never took baths with your father when you were a child or with your brothers? You don't know a thing about pixies, do you? Tix's expression remains the same, but her voice suddenly lowers. She doesn't appear to be angry, rather, there's a tinge of disappointment in her voice, and perhaps regret. I've touched on the subject that she doesn't want to speak about. After making her way to the edge of the sink, Tix wraps her tiny arms and naked body around the faucet, causing the water to stop flowing. Tix then uses a dishcloth to dry herself off and finally returns to her normal size. Sable, do you know how pixies breed? My heart almost stops as I'm confronted with Tix's sudden question. Completely naked, standing right in front of me, Tix jumps straight to a question one should hesitate to ask even when fully clothed. And yet, despite the nature of her question, there's no lust in her eyes, nor is she blushing. Tix is serious. No, I can't say I do. Is it different to how humans do it? Tix shakes her head. The process is the same, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is... Tix averts her gaze for a moment as she tries to think about how best to continue. Ah, screw it, I'm just going to be direct. Sable, there's no such thing as a male pixie. What? There isn't? I told you when we met, didn't I? All pixies are female, every last one of us. Oh right, come to think of it, Tix did say something like that. I didn't really think about what she was trying to say at the time, but from the looks of it, Tix wasn't kidding. I stare at Tix in surprise, half expecting her to crack a smile and laugh at me for believing her. Needless to say, though, Tix isn't lying. It's a cruel joke, isn't it? We have bodies clearly made for reproduction in the same manner as many other races, and yet we cannot give birth to male offspring. As a result, we have no choice but to find partners from other races with similar biology to ours, like human beings. Although Tix's words are unexpected, the concept isn't completely foreign to me. There are several well-known demi-human races that are female only. Most of them reproduce asexually or use some kind of catalyst. Others have a counterpart species like succubi and incubi. And then there are races like harpies, lamia, and apparently pixies, which have no choice but to either crossbreed or perish. All pixies are taught from an early age to enhance and grow our bodies, partly to ward off predators, but also to increase the number of races we can potentially mate with. It's tiring to stay human-sized for long, but out in the wild we've got no choice. I frown, while smiling wryly, unsure what to say in response. Thankfully, before I can give it too much thought, a smile returns to Tix's face as she hurriedly changes her tone. So, yeah, that's just how it is. If you're planning on making a move on me, you better have the resolve to see it through all the way to the end. After all, it's not like we can survive without relying on you humans. Seemingly intent on monologuing until the very end, Tix turns away from me. She then reverts back to her normal size, too small for me to clearly make out her expression, and flies toward the bed. But rather than land on her bed, she hovers above her backpack for a moment, unzipping it. Tix then slips into the backpack like it's a sleeping bag, makes herself comfortable, and tucks herself in for the night. So Tix she's got some weird hang-ups about who she is and how she can move forward, and it's a bit of a bad position to be put in, that her entire existence seems to revolve around reproduction. What is that? That's weird. Okay, here we go. Next day. With my first day at Amadronia Academy behind me, I wake up bright and early, having slept only for a couple of hours through the night. Given Tix's preference to sleep in her natural size rather than grow artificially and use a proper bed, I was able to read in my room for many hours after all. Having placed a blanket over the top of Tix's backpack so that no light would get in, I summoned my terminal. Then I accessed the digitised books from the Academy's library and kept myself busy for many hours before succumbing to fatigue. Once I showered and changed into another set of clothes, I head downstairs to the cafeteria. Fortunately, I'm among the first to arrive, so I'm able to place an order at the counter without waiting in line. Moments later, I'm sitting down, staring at a plate full of pancakes and trying hard not to drool. Wow, though this is what breakfast should be like. I'm generally not so hungry this early in the morning, but after eating so little yesterday, this is going to be no problem. Pancakes topped with cream and maple syrup, a breakfast so unhealthy yet so delicious. Without paying any mind to the calories I'm ingesting, I continue to dig in. It's a good thing I got here early. If Ray was here, I'm sure that she'd... Sable! What? I almost fell over as an inappropriately loud voice shouts at me from behind. Sable, I knew you'd be here. You're an early riser, just like me. Talk about good fortune. Breathing heavily as I try to regain my calm, I turn my head to look at my loudmouth acquaintance. No, not good fortune. Perhaps it's fate. Anyway, good morning, Sable. Yeah, morning, Dragon. I smile weakly and nod my head, and then turn back around to face my food. What? Oh, I know what those are. They're pancakes, aren't they? Human cities sure do have strange foods. It looks tasty, though. I can't wait to try one. Oh. Good food, yeah, good food. Hey, so listen. Dragon dulls her energetic tone and draws slightly closer. Though still full of life, she puts on a serious expression, or at least one as serious as Dragon's capable of making. About yesterday. Are you feeling okay? Yesterday? You know, after you fainted. Oh. I stopped eating as memories of yesterday flood back into my mind. Right at the start of runic typography studies, I made a complete fool of myself. I attempted to use a spell far beyond my own capabilities, and by the time I realised it, it was too late to dispel it and I lost control. Although I got lucky and avoided seriously injuring anybody, I lost consciousness and missed the rest of the lesson. You looked totally ragged when I brought you to the infirmary. I wanted to stay until you woke up, but the angel lady told me I'd just get in the way. Oh, so you carried me. I'm sorry for troubling you like that, and my lips quiver as I continue. I apologise for putting you in such great danger. Sable. I got carried away yesterday. I wanted to show off, just like our teachers told us not to, and I screwed up. If you or someone else from our classes was seriously injured or killed, then I lower my gaze as I think about what might have been. The shame of losing control is totally outweighed by the disgrace of endangering my companions. Even thinking about how I could have killed my new friends is enough to bring a tear to my eye. This is one mistake I'm never going to forget. Yeah, would have been bad, right? Well, nothing you can do about it now. What? I look up to find Dragon giving me a toothy grin. You gambled and you lost. It happens. All you can do now is learn from your mistake, move on. No, but the people are hurt. Apologise, and then they'll forgive you. I mean, the only one who was badly hurt was you anyway, so it's not like they can really hold a grudge. And if they do make a big deal out of a novice making a mistake, then they're the one at fault, it's not you. A novice mage? Despite knowing that Dragon's heart is in the right place, her words wound me, and the reason why they hurt so badly is that she's right. I like to prop myself up by using spells that other first year students can't, and thinking to myself that I know things that they don't, but the truth is, I'm no better than they are. I'm a novice, I'm a beginner, a fledgling. I'm not of the valedictorian like Leisha, I don't wield the power of a half-dragon like Dragon, or possess the experience of a senior student like Joru. My only claim to fame is that I spent my days in isolation, away from my peers, conducting research that could have easily died along with me yesterday due to my own carelessness. I really am just a delusional fool, aren't I? Anyway, on to more important matters. That spell you used yesterday, what was that? It felt like a special distortion magic, but the scale was extraordinary. How did you do it? What? Oh, I fumble with my words as Dragon coaxes me out of my self-loathing. It's a spell I made up. I call it, Call of the Abyss. Before you say anything, I know it's a lame name, but it's the best that I... Wow, that's awesome, dude. Call of the Abyss. It sounds like the finishing move of a supervillain. That's not what I was going for. How does it work? Is this some kind of special ability that only you can use? No, it's nothing like that. It's just an ordinary spatial distortion magic that I tweaked a bit. Tweaked? What do you mean? I mean, it's kind of difficult to explain. Put simply, I narrow the scope of the spell and give it a precise direction in which to flow. I cause the spatial distortion magic to flow into itself, repeatedly pulling itself toward the central part, thus forming a sphere which becomes more and more dense as I pour in ether. And once I'm happy with the density, I quickly change the direction, so instead of pulling itself inward to maintain a spherical shape, the full force of the ball of magic is suddenly pushed in a single direction, and at that point it works like gravity, pulling anything and everything in one direction with great force. Yesterday, I tried to stop it partway through, so it didn't really do what I wanted it to, but even so. I stopped talking as my explanation loses momentum. Looking up, I realised that Dragon is staring at me wide-eyed. Whether she understood my attempted explanation or not, she appears to be intrigued. Wow, so that's how you did it. I mean, I didn't really understand most of what you just said, but I think I got the gist. I sigh in resignation as my explanation fails to hit the mark. At any rate, it was impressive, dude. It's nothing compared to the mighty fire magic of a bona fide dragon, of course, but it's as much as one could expect from a puny human. Oh, I mean, thanks, I guess. Although I'm a bit unsure about Dragon's complacence, I'm thankful for her straightforward approach regarding yesterday's incident. Tix didn't say a word about what happened yesterday. As a member of Dragon's cast, she was definitely there. There's no way she wasn't affected by what happened. And yet, despite being present, and then seeing me that night, she didn't say a thing. Is it because I caught her in the middle of bathing? It would be a pretty heavy conversation to have while relaxing in a hot shower. Or is that her way of being considerate? Pondering my roommate's silence, I sigh in defeat and return to my pancakes. Oh, they're cold. Oh, do you want me to... No, thank you. Oh, okay. Come to think of it, I'm getting pretty hungry myself. I guess I should grab something too. I'll be right back. Seeing me eat my cold pancakes, Dragon heads to the counter, which is still fairly vacant. She scans the menu left and right, looking over each item carefully as she tries to reach a decision. This might take a while. Okay, gonna have some breakfast. After eating breakfast with Dragon, I head toward class. I still have another 20 or so minutes before class is gonna start, so I don't really need to enter class just yet. There is nothing in particular that I need to do, and not enough time to accomplish anything else worthwhile. Few other ideas come to mind. That being said, once I do arrive at the front of the classroom, I find myself becoming strangely nervous. My hand begins to shake as I reach for the doorknob, and I hesitate to actually open the door. Even if the classroom is almost empty, I'm wary about what awaits me. Come to think of it, even if Dragon and Tix don't hold what happened yesterday against me, there's no guarantee that my classmates are going to feel the same way. What if they hate me or fear me? I couldn't blame them if they did, and I can't say for sure that I wouldn't feel the same way about someone who could have accidentally killed me. Will they start to bully me? Or maybe they're just going to ignore me from now on. In any case, I'm definitely... Oh, Sable! What? I jump in fright for the second time this morning as someone suddenly addresses me from behind. Turning around to face them, I find my faceless classmate. Oh, morning. Good morning to you, my dear Sable. How are you feeling on this fine and beautiful day? I force a smile in response to Hell's over-the-top greeting. I mean, great, I guess. Good to hear, good to hear. Of course, I'd expect nothing less from the diva of Class 1C. You're calling me a diva? I'm not sure whether to laugh or sigh as my classmate once again addresses me in such an odd fashion. Oh no, don't misunderstand, my dear Sable. I am by no means the one who bestowed such a title upon you. That honour belongs to one of our classmates, though I am unable to recall which one. So Hill isn't the only loony one in our class. So maybe being ignored by my classmates wouldn't be such a bad thing after all. Still, I must say, you're not looking particularly energetic this morning, my dear. Did you not sleep well? If you're so inclined, I wouldn't mind helping you in that particular area. I stare at Hill amusedly. I understand what you're trying to say, and I refuse. Do not be so quick to decline. You might be surprised at how well you sleep with me by your side. Once we do actually fall asleep, that is. I look more closely at Hel as she makes her appeal. Her blank face begins to warp. It's bestowed with eyes, a nose, a mouth, and all of her other contours and features one would expect. Her appeal skyrockets in an instant. The faceless, androgynous creature before me becomes a stunning young adult, whose eyes are focused solely on me. Hel lets loose her illusions in full force, dialing up her charm in an attempt to snare the disillusioned party before her. Far be it for me to brag, but I'm yet to find a companion unwilling to spend the night in my arms. If you are hesitant to act on impulse, don't be. Trust your instinct and throw caution to the wind. Accept my embrace, dear Sable, and know the touch of another being. No, it's okay. I'll continue to sleep alone, thank you. Ah, playing hard to get, are we? An understandable defence mechanism, but one that is currently unnecessary. I shall prove to you that your worries are unfounded. You need only... Look, I'm not interested, okay? And I'm not going to fall for your illusions either, so please just spare it. Hel's face returns to its usual blank canvas. Before her eyes vanish, however, she stares at me in amazement, and even after her face has lost all of its features, she still exudes an air of surprise. She cannot believe that her charm has failed again. This can't be. Not once but twice now that you've seen through my illusion. Well, yeah, did you really think the same trick would work a second time? Hel shakes her head. You don't understand. This time around I gave it everything I had. Nobody can see through my illusion when I'm that strong. I scratch the back of my head and smile wryly. I'm not sure what to tell you. Maybe you're having a bad day. Once again, Hel shakes her head. I'm thankful for your concern, but you needn't humour me. I've been bested. As you did yesterday, my dear Sable, you have proven to me that you're my superior. It was wrong of me to pursue you like that. From the very beginning, it was my role to be conquered by you, not the other way around. Okay, so we can leave it at that, right? Wait, what's all that about conquering? My words fall on deaf ears as Hel's body shudders in delight. Oh, to not be the pursuer but the pursued. As much as it pains me, I have no choice but to relinquish my role as the protagonist over to you, dear Sable. No one's doing any pursuing here, stop it. Indeed, I suppose there's little point in engaging in that particular thrill. You have already made me yours. Ever since I saw your ability on display yesterday, I knew that my heart belonged to you. My ability? My mind flashes back to yesterday's runic typography class. Given that they were in the same class, Hel must know all about what happened yesterday. She's probably even more familiar with the situation than I am, since I lost consciousness partway through. No, wait, if that's what Hel's talking about, then why would her heart belong to me? Throwing aside the absurdity of her pledging her heart to me over something like that, the natural reaction would be to fear or despise, wouldn't it? Maybe she's actually talking about how I broke her illusion. That would certainly make a lot more sense. Return to reality, I pose a question. So when you say you saw my ability to display, what do you mean? I'm talking about your spatial displacement magic, of course. True, you impressed me by breaking my illusion so quickly, but it was your role in yesterday's class that truly caught my eye. And sure enough, I'm not the only one, hence your title of Diva. I'm trying not to focus on the new title, but I ponder Hel's words for a moment. Contrary to my expectations, she makes it sound like my popularity has actually gone up and not down, that my classmates were impressed by yesterday's display rather than infuriated. Hel appears to notice my confusion. What's the matter? Do you not like the title? It's not that. I mean, I really don't like the new title, but that's not what's bothering me. Then what is it? Difficult though it might be to read a person with no face, I sense no malice in Hel's reply. She appears to be genuinely unsure as to why I'm unsettled. Hel, aren't you angry about yesterday? I mean, I basically attacked the entire class and... No, say no more. To call such a divine spectacle an attack does it no justice. In fact, it's an insult to those of us in whom awe was inspired. On your first day at the academy, you went against our teacher's clear instructions and showed off a large-scale spell which spread even beyond the courtyard. If that's not an action worthy of praise, I don't know what is. Hold on a sec, it went that far? I thought I contained it. Oh yeah, you're too impressive for your own good, it seems. No, having my spell expand beyond the expected parameters isn't impressive, it's the exact opposite. This whole situation is embarrassing beyond belief. I sigh and I shake my head. Never mind, I'm just glad that you weren't hurt. As long as everybody pulled through unscathed, that's all that matters. Okay. While trying to convince myself that the safety of my classmates is paramount, I enter the classroom, closely followed by Hell. The few students present all turn to face me, one after the other. Those who don't immediately notice my presence are warned by their friends, and soon redirect their gazes. Before long, everyone present is staring at me. Oh, morning. I nervously wave at my classmates, who have become dead silent. They all stare at me wide-eyed, as if looking at a ghost. I understand that you're all awestruck, but it's rude to stare at your esteemed diva so intently without saying a word. Will you not return Sable's greeting? At Hell's prompt, my classmates jump in surprise, as though they've only just realised what they were doing. One after the other, they adopt smiles on their faces and begin to wave, offering a non-verbal greeting before finally taking their eyes off me. Seeing this, I'm speechless. Pitiful, they're so captivated that they cannot even greet you properly. Please forgive their rude behaviour, Sable. I am sure they will sing your praises in the near future. As ridiculous as I find Hell's assertion, she's right about one thing. My classmates don't appear to hate me. If anything, they just seem to be curious. Yesterday's spectacle, no matter how dangerous or embarrassing it was, put me front and centre. It gave everyone a chance to see my face, hear my name, and see for themselves a power many of them couldn't wield themselves. It might not have made me a diva, despite Hell proclaiming otherwise, but it did garner attention, and it helped me to make a powerful impression. Okay, I think that'll do for this episode. Hopefully, we're not on anyone's bad books, but we're going to find out more in the next episode. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.